Every little girl grows up dreaming about her happy ever after, but most of us don't have fairy tale scriptwriters making sure we get it. That's where the Happy Ever After show comes in. If you have been waiting for a fairy godmother to wave her magic wand and release your frustrations, create the prosperity you want, and live a life you love, then listen closely. It's time to learn how to make your own wishes come true with your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Happy Ever After show. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I'm so excited that you are here today. Our topic for the next several episodes is Manifest 10,000. So how to use the law of attraction to manifest more money in your life. And I know that you're listening because you want to open up and welcome more money and the ease and flow of money into your life so that you can build your business quicker and easier. Because if there's not money flowing in, it's not really a business, right? And it's so much easier to build your business when money's flowing in. So when money's coming in, you can reinvest some of that in the business and you can give yourself a paycheck, which is awesome. So we're going through this Manifest 10K for a couple different reasons, or Manifest 10,000. You'll hear me use this interchangeably. Manifest 10,000 is my book that is coming to your local bookstore soon. So we're going to talk about how you can get that in just a second. One of the things I wanted to share, the other day I had a friend email me and she lives in Manhattan on the Upper West Side, right up the park. I think it's the Upper West Side. She's right off the park. She's like overlooking the ball fields. And, she emailed me and she said, hey, do you want to get some time in? Because we talked about trading places. We talked about trading apartments. She said, you know what? You can just come. We'll work on. Awesome. And it's so cool to have friends where you could just trade very cool places to live, which I happen to have a lot of. But the coolest thing for me is that I don't have to ask anyone, can I go work in New York on this balcony that overlooks the ball fields at Central Park? Can I go do that for a week? Can I go hang out in New York and do all of my favorite things? Go to Rock Center, go to the skating rink and see the tree and go see the Macy's windows and see all the things that, I want to do. I didn't have to ask permission. I didn't have to ask for a day off. I didn't have to calculate, what I was going to have to give up next year if I use vacation time now. Nobody could tell me no. And that's just the best part of being an entrepreneur. And, to keep being that entrepreneur with that freedom, I have to keep welcoming money into my life. And that's why really it was important for me to share this season with you and why, I'm so passionate about my book that is coming to a bookstore near you, which is called Manifest 10,000. And the focus of the book is 10,000, and we'll talk about why that is in a couple episodes. But, really I'm passionate about sharing this book and sharing everything that we're going to share in this season, this couple seasons, I would call it. It's dedicated to the book and teaching you what I wrote about in Manifest 10,000 and teaching you what I teach in the Manifest 10K course and what I've learned in my business over the last 3 years, because it's just so important. You have to have money flowing in order to maintain that freedom and also to enjoy that freedom, right? So I decided actually not to go to New York just because my niece will be in town, and I just sort of was like, yes, and then I thought about it and I just kind of decided, I'd rather be here with her. But the fact that opportunity presented itself and, there was money to fly there, a place to stay. And of course I could have booked a place and, I could just fly to New York and stay. But I love to stay in actual apartments and, do VRBO or stuff like that. And I love when I get to trade with my friends and I get to experience their life and all of that. So, but in order to do those things, to be able to say, yeah, I want to jump on a plane in less than a month and go to Manhattan and go do all my favorite Christmas things in New York, there has to be money flowing into my business. I have to know that money's coming in. There has to be money in the bank, right? To be able to do that. And so it's one thing to be able to have the freedom to go and that I didn't have to ask anyone for the time off. I didn't have to fight for it if I wanted to go. But the second thing is that the money, right? Because the freedom without the money isn't as good and maybe doesn't feel as free. Maybe you've had that experience. So again, that's why this season is dedicated to that, right? Because that's important. And so if you love this season of the podcast, if you love the Happy Ever After podcast in general, and you want to show appreciation for that, I would be ever so grateful if you would go to Manifest 10K book. It's Manifest10K book, BOOK.com, and pre-order Manifest 10,000, the hard copy. Now, many of you I know listening probably have the ebook. You'll know if you go to Manifest10kbook.com, new cover, which I'm so in love with. It's so amazing. I just it feels velvety and rich. I don't know. It's so good. But new cover, and you get the print version. So if you want to highlight it, you want to take notes, you want to do whatever, you want to keep it so you can pull it out. And sometimes it's just nice to have that thing to hold on to. So if you go to manifest10kbook.com, you can pre-order at any of your favorite retailers. There's links about halfway down the page. You can just click on those and it'll take you straight to pre-order Manifest 10,000. And when you do that and you screenshot the receipt and you go back to that page and scroll down to the bottom, there's a big old box that says click here to get your complimentary copy. When you click that, fill out the information, attach the screenshot of, or your receipt number from buying the book, and I will send you a copy now. So the book comes out May 16th in bookstores. I've heard Amazon ships as early as a month early. So, and everybody else ships maybe a week early. It's just what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't had that information verified. That's just what I've heard from other authors and things like that. So you're going to get that book sometime between April, probably mid-April and mid-May, end of May. But I'm going to send you a copy very, very shortly. So if you just show me that you've already purchased it, it's like a buy one, get one free offer. And really what this is you're paying it forward, because the more pre-orders there are, the more book buyers are going to stock the book and give shelf space and all of that good stuff, which really means that you're helping introduce me to somebody else. So I love it because I think it's a pay it forward act. If you can just go invest in the book now, you will get 2 copies, because I'm going to send you a copy pretty much right away. And so you'll have that in your possession. You can have it now because I'm in the author. So I have some copies that I get before they go to everybody else. So I'm going to send you one of those copies. Of course, I will sign it for you if that's something that you want. And so of course I'll do that for you so you can get that signed copy. You're going to help the book buyers know that this is a book that people want to hear about. And so help them know to stock it, and help somebody that you don't even know who might be struggling in their business or to manifest money, help them to find me and help them to find this podcast. And then you're also going to get that other book, come April, May, June, and you can pay that forward and just give it to someone as a gift, which is just, I think, really cool. So manifest10kbook.com, I would love if you did that. I'm so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today because it's so important. If you do want to join the Manifest 10K course, that's open to anybody on this podcast, and you can invite a friend. You just go to manifest10k.com, manifest10k.com, and you just register. It's pay after you manifest. So you can start to welcome more money in your life. This podcast is going to give you a lot of information. And we're going to talk about a lot of things and go over a lot of stuff in terms of manifesting and opening yourself up to more money, right? Because the more money you are open to receive, the quicker and easier your business is going to grow. So that's why this topic is super important. So, the more that so we'll talk about it here. But if you do want to join the course, of course, that's an option, and you can go to manifest10k.com and do that. All right, so let's talk about, where you might be or where you might find yourself, maybe now or in the past, in terms of the law of attraction and how to manifest more money into your life. And I'm going to talk about what I see a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners how they try and use the law of attraction. They think they're using the law of attraction. Maybe not. So I'm gonna talk about how I see a lot of business owners. So, utilizing the law of attraction is really, the law of attraction says like attracts like. It's what we use to call things into our life. I like to use the word manifest. But really, for me, it's about like this opening to receive. Manifesting is all about just opening myself up to being the person who has whatever I want, right? So it's kind of when I think of manifesting. It's just like this opening to receive this desire that I have next. So when it comes to money and business, and I did this for a long time, this is where I see most entrepreneurs, right? They're like, okay, I know about the law of attraction. Maybe you just learned about the law of attraction on this podcast, or maybe you've been studying it for 20 years. So it works. When you line up who you are with what you desire in life, the path starts to appear to that. It's just the way it works, right? So there's a lot of different scientific reasons that works, and it works. So when you become clear about what you want and you ask for it and you line up with it, which is the biggest thing. And the term that I use for that is become the person who already has that. When you become the person who already has that, whatever it is finds its way into your life. So entrepreneurs often use the law of attraction to get more money into their life. And it goes something like this. And maybe you found yourself in this position before. Maybe you found yourself in this position now. But it's like, I want to manifest X amount of dollars. So I'm just going to say $10,000 because that's kind of the topic of conversation on this podcast. So I say, okay, I'm going to manifest $10,000. And then immediately, right? So the way that maybe it works best, or in a lot of ways that I teach, like I teach you the step-by-step in Manifest 10K of how to sort of go through this and line up with this. You just say, okay, I'm welcoming $10,000. I intend to manifest $10,000. $10,000 by such and such date. There's a lot of different ways to set intentions and do all this. So you go about setting it, right? And then what most business owners do is they set that intention and they immediately, like I'm talking most entrepreneurs I know, like then 10 seconds later, they go into plan mode, right? They're like, okay, I'm going to manifest $10,000, and they go start planning, and they start planning all this detail, and they're like, okay, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have this product, and I'm going to have this program, and I'm going to do blah, 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 right? I'm going to do this. And I had a client who, when we started working together, she goes, okay, like my intention is $1 million a year, and we got on the phone. She goes, $1 million a year. And she starts rattling off. She goes, that's going to be so many people at this amount of money. And then there's going to be like this upgrade, and so many people, like 200 people will be at $47. And then 100 people will be at $297. And she just like kept like, it was just like going and going and going and going until finally it was like, time out. When we open up as business owners or entrepreneurs to the amount of money, it is not our job to devise the plan, right? You can have some loose idea, and there's always this balance between, staying in this space of being open and manifesting and running your business. But you want to be open, because what happens when you immediately go devise the plan. So it's like, it's $10,000. Let's say, okay, I'm going to make $10,000. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 1,000 people to pay me $10. So I'm going to get 1,000 people, and I'm going to do this product, and it's going to be $10. And I'm going to get 1,000 people, right? And you can even just hear in the energy of my voice, which if you've ever heard yourself sort of like there's going to be 10,000 people, and it's going to be 1,000 people. I'm going to $10 each, 1,000 people. And I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. And I'm going to advertise here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go all over here. I'm going to do all these things, right? That's the plan. When you start talking in that, for me, it's very much the tone that you're hearing right now. Like that's my, but I hear that same tone in my clients. When they step into action taking instead of into getting in alignment with what they want and becoming that person who makes $10,000, who has $10,000 in their bank account at the end of the month, right? Anytime you're devising a plan, you aren't using the law of attraction. That's not the way it works. If you have the exact plan of how you're going to do it, that's cool. It's totally awesome. But you're not leveraging the power of the law of attraction. And a lot of entrepreneurs that I run into, the thing that I've just given you the example is what happens, right? It's like, I want to make this amount of money, so I'm going to blah, 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 right? So I saw a realtor do this, right? And it was like, I need to close X amount of houses. Well, that's cool. But like, just how about I want to close X amount of dollars in houses. Like maybe it's $1 million in closing, maybe it's $5 million in closing, right? But if that happens in one house or it happens in 50 houses, like, are you okay with that? Like, does it matter? And the answer to this is generally no, but you have to answer it for yourself. Like, does it matter how that comes to be? Like, is it more important? Let's use the 1,000 people at $10 example. When you think about that, or you put yourself in a similar situation where you've been in the past, like, did it matter to you that you had 1,000 people that paid you $10, right? Or what if you could have had 2 people that paid you $5,000? Would you have been just as happy, right? And there may be some reasons why not. But like, if the answer is the $10,000, then you got to step back and you got to allow that path to appear, right? So like in the realtor example, 50 houses could mean a lot of different things. But if the goal is $5 million in closed business, right? Like, and you just open up to that, that could come in one transaction, or it could come in 50 transactions, or it could come in some mode. But if the goal, and maybe it is the goal is like to close so many, so you're willing to go after all these little things because you want that close number. But it's real important to get clear about what you want. Like if it's about the $5 million closed in business, or it's about the $10,000, then get clear about that. And so most people, like I said, entrepreneurs, I see this a lot. It's because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. It's also because I did this for a very long time. I said, okay, this is what I'm going to manifest in my business. And immediately I started the plan and I started to figure out what that looked like. And I started to like go all these things. And a lot of people like will come to me and they'll say, well, I think you have to get clear. I'm like, you do have to get clear. But that's actually controlling the how, and that's creating your own path. That's not allowing the path to create. What you want to do instead, because that's forcing. And it's also closing off all the other possibilities, right? If you're like dead set on this plan and you're like, this is the way it's going to happen, gotta happen this way, this is the only option, like you're closing off, so you're not even seeing anything else. And what happens when you actually get clear about what you want, so maybe that's $10,000 at the end of the month, you step back and you go through the process, which we're going to talk about over the next episodes. I'm going to walk you through this whole thing. But when you get really clear about how does that feel, who are you when you have $10,000 in your bank account at the end of the month, or who are you when you make $10,000 a client, who are you, when you make $10,000 a week, whatever that is, when you become clear on that, the path can start to appear. The easiest and quickest path can start to appear. Instead of you deciding it's got to be this one way and closing off all the other doors, which is that's generally what entrepreneurs do when they think they're using the law of attraction, right? And they'll say some mantras and they'll do some other things, but the majority of what they're doing is brute force action. Like you're and when I say brute force, it doesn't mean it means like you're ramming forward really hard. The energy that you're doing something is really forceful. So many times entrepreneurs will do that. When I work with clients, I'm like, just step back and let's get clear on who that person is. And again, I'm going to walk you through this, but in the next episodes, but get clear on who it is. who that person is who has $10,000 at the end of the month, how it's going to feel, all of those things before we start in on this plan, because so often your plan is not the best plan. I'll just tell you that right now, right? It's usually not the easiest and quickest plan. The one that comes to you 10 seconds after you set the intention that's your brain trying to figure out the how. It's your brain trying to make it happen. It is not you getting clear and allowing the path to appear, right? It's just forcing it. And what happens is you get very frustrated because this doesn't work. And all of this brute force action, A, is exhausting, and B, it usually doesn't yield the results you want. So if you've ever, there's all these things about, I don't know, you got to work so hard and you got to do all this hard and you got to, I worked really hard. It felt like I worked really hard. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I did work hard. I just didn't work smart, right? I was working really hard. I would go home from work and I would spend hours trying to build my business. And looking back, I think I know what I was doing. I was working, there was things I was doing, but it wasn't things with outcomes. It wasn't the best. There was no path. I was just trying to force all of these things. And I was really good at that. I created, one time I said, I'm going to have a product a month. And I think it was February, and it was like the 27th and I hadn't created it yet. And I was dang sure I was going to stick to that schedule. So I created this whole product in a month. Some of you have probably taken it. It's the Loving Yourself 30-30-30 product, which is amazing and awesome. It's such a good product. I got it done, right? That product sells for $9. And the thing is if I wanted to sell that product to 1,000 people a month, come up with the system for it and stick with it, I could have done that. But instead, I jumped to another project and really forced my hand, really forced myself into doing something else hard. Now, again, good things come out of that. That product is awesome. I love that. Some of you still use it. You rave about it. You tell me the experiences you've had with it. I'm very proud of it. And, had it come when I know now, had that inspiration come now, it would look a lot different. And it would actually be, probably free with the Manifest 10K course, which is probably what's going to happen now that I think about it. But, all of that expends a lot of energy and a lot of time, and it's not inspired. And when you don't wait for that path to come, it's a lot of sort of wasted energy. And you get frustrated, right? And so as an entrepreneur, generally, that all doesn't work. That brute force, coming up the plan, doesn't work. You don't know how to make it work, right? The reason you don't know how to make it work is because it didn't come from an inspired place, right? So it's got to be hard the whole time because it came out of this very hard plan, forceful action. And what generally happens, or what happened a lot for me, is that you give up until your next big idea. And then you're like, nope, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to manifest $10,000 and here's how it's going to happen. I'm going to have 500 people that are going to pay me $20 for this other product, right? I've had a lot of personal experience with this. So if you're shaking your head oh, I've been there, you're not alone. I see entrepreneurs do this all the time when they're trying to manifest money. And a lot of times entrepreneurs are really good manifestors. So you've probably already had some success at, maybe manifest a really great relationship, or you've gotten a lot of free trips, or you've manifested a really great car, or manifested all these things, right? But when it comes to money in your business, you just haven't been as successful as you want, which is why you're listening to this podcast, which is awesome because we're going to go over all this. But that's generally the pattern, and then I see entrepreneurs, they start over and they're like, okay, I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to manifest $10,000 with 500 people at $20. And it's this cycle, right? So for some of you, it might be jumping network marketing companies. It's another way entrepreneurs do this, right? It's like, oh yeah, this is going to work. Manifest all this money. And this network marketing company comes up the next day after you set the intention to manifest $10,000. And you're like, that's it. I'm jumping all in. And you go do a lot of hard work, but the hard work wasn't lined up with that $10,000, right? It was came out of like sort of this force and this, it didn't come out of inspiration. And so it was hard. And so you get frustrated and you give up till the next time you're like, I need $10,000. I'm going to go manifest $10,000. And another company shows up. That's another way this happens. And it's what entrepreneurs do, because we're not afraid to work hard, right? None of us is afraid to put in the work, but we do want the work to be going somewhere. So keep listening because we are going to continue to talk about this and talk about how to welcome more money in your life so that your business builds quicker and easier. Money comes in all ways. I love to share these stories. So, JJ was a client he took the Manifest 10K course a little while ago. And for him, the way his $10,000 found its way into his life is that he got his student loan forgiveness. Now, he had been working on this. He was eligible for it. He worked on it for 3 years before he just gave up because he met all the qualifications, but he just couldn't get through all the red tape, and he gave up because he got frustrated and it was having an impact on his positive vibes. So he just gave up. And then he joined the Manifest 10K course, and then magically, without him doing anything, the stuff just came through. It said, hey, you're approved. Here's your approval. Just, there's a couple more, things to do, but really it just broke down that because he was open to receiving. And so his manifesting was $17,500 because he got clear and he stayed open. And so I just want to leave you with this all for today, but I'm really excited about the next episode. We're going to talk about, do you have to get rid of limiting beliefs in order to manifest more money and welcome that money into your life and into your business and enjoy that flow? So we're going to talk about limiting beliefs on the next episode. But I want to leave you with this mantra for next week, and that is, I am open to receive. I am open to receive. And again, if you just want to extend your arms out, kind of like a bird, and just really, I'm open to receive. As you say that, just be open and allowing. I encourage that. Practice that mantra this week, and I will talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us on the Happy Ever After show, where you don't need a genie lamp to get your wishes granted. Now that you're inspired and ready to take action, get yourself on the path to your happy ever after by scheduling a complimentary strategy session at createmyhappyeverafter.com.